Jamshedpur, situated in the eastern city of Jharkhand, is known as the Pittsburgh of India. It is the first planned industrial city of India. The city was formed when surveyors from the Tata Iron and Steel Company found the ideal site for the steel plant in the village of Sakshi near Kalimati. The area was named as Jamshedpur in 1919 in honor of the founder Jamshedji and Tata. As the city was envisioned by a Parsi, the earliest settlers were the Parsis who moved to Jamshedpur for better opportunities. The Parsi heritage is seen in the city in the form of the Parsi fire temple situated in the northern town. Like most Parsis today in other parts of the country, the population of Jamshedpur Parsis has dwindled to a bare minimum. Most of the buildings built by the Parsis have been renovated or have been given to retailers and shop owners except the Bharucha Mansion. It is the only building to have stood the test of time, a lone reminder of the Parsi community in the cosmopolitan city of Jamshedpur. The building is an iconic landmark in the city. Situated at the heart of the bustling Bistropur, the building housed the very famous Regal Cinemas. The theatre grew to be everyone's favorite. Starting in 1950, it was the venue for all RK Studio movies. Almost every family in Jamshedpur has some memory associated with the Regal Cinema. It was one of the earliest theatres in the city. The cheap rates and the location of the theatre gave stiff competition to all the cinema houses in the city. Unfortunately, the cinema was shut down in 1984. Regal Cinemas proved to be a landmark. Even today, cab drivers, bus stops, and auto drivers know the roundabout near Bharucha Mansion as Regal. The field across the building was known as Regal Maidan until it was renamed as Gopal Maidan in honor of the labor union leader. The mansion was built by Khurshid Manekji Bharucha in 1935. He was the first Indian chief cashier of Tisco. He got the permission to build a 11-story colossal building. Tata Steel had remaining beams and girdles from the Howrah Bridge in Kolkata, which were being offered to its employees.
When the building was constructed, the entire place was supposed to be a place for Parsis to come from all across the country and to form a community over here. While that was the main thought process, that didn't work out unfortunately, and then the place was given up on rent.
During that time, a one-room general post office, a thatched police station, the KMPM school, the first school of the town, and the Boulevard Hotel were the only structures. The part of the building which housed the Regal Cinemas has been demolished today. It has been given away to form a shopping complex. While the building houses another landmark, the Novelty Restaurant. Perched atop on the second floor of the building, the current generation of the Bharucha clan runs a cafe to keep the legacy alive. Currently, in the 6th year, the cafe has been aptly named as Cafe Regal.
Was that it was to pay homage to Regal Cinemas that used to exist at one point of time, and the concept of the cafe was that it also had things from the cinema as well. The lights on the wall have all been refurbished and brought back to life and put on. The chairs are originally from Regal Cinema itself. There's a lot of memorabilia that's there from the cinema's time, and it's just a small way of showing a little love for what was done a long time ago.
The cafe has memorabilia from the original cinemas itself, which has been painstakingly restored and curated with love. Iron beams from the Howrah Bridge support the ceiling. The fans, lamps, and the furniture are originally the ones found in the cinemas. The other furniture in the cafe is a prototype from a family furniture book. The book dates back to 1920s, and the pieces cannot be found online. Each furniture is made by the artisans which the family brought in from Gujarat.
That poster used to be in the cinema where statesman newspapers used to be sold, and it's an embossed poster. So embossed old advertisements are of a lot of value, and they are given a lot of importance. and because it used to be expensive to produce embossed posters, the cost was much more. So first of all, it being vintage is of value. Second, the fact that it's embossed is of even more value. Hence, I decided to keep it up on the cafe. It would have to be the second year of the cafe, where we had students from XLRI who had come in, and they already had called ahead and said that we're going to be late. So we kept the cafe open for them, like at something like 9:30, and they ended up being there till 11:30, 12 in the night. Because they were very hungry. They had finished college and they didn't have anything as such at that point of time in the college to eat. They didn't want to eat anything in the college. They have a canteen. I know that for a fact. So, so they all came down, and they had an amazing time. It was great fun just to be around them, the energy and the fun that they had. And while they were in that moment of having fun, they ended up creating a dish. So they asked us to make the spiciest pasta possible, because they ended up having a challenge amongst themselves. A boy and a girl ended up saying that I can have the most spiciest food ever and nothing can happen to me. And the challenge was who could have the maximum amount of spicy food without taking a sip of water and no tears to come out from their eyes. And this further snowballed into us making a green pasta sauce, which is the most ridiculous, spiciest thing we have ever made in the cafe. And they ended up devouring it, both of them. And then they went for another round. And then it happened in another 2 days' time, they came back again, and then there were 4 different people asking for the same green pasta, and in the end I had to put it on the menu, because that's how it became a dish on the menu itself. Another one where we had another story is where we had a friend who wanted to have chocolate but wanted to have it with bread. So he said, can you make a chocolate sandwich for me? And just by that request, after I made it and I got it, and I said, just try it out, see how it works, you know. And the person sitting on the next table saw it, smelled it, and said, I want the same. So that's how another dish came about. I wasn't thinking it, wasn't planning it, but then I just put my mind to it and I had it made for them, and it turned out to be fantastic. So the Parsi Sunday lunch that we have, it's a set menu, and it's actually, you can't have at any given point of time of the day. You can have it as a brunch, you can have it at lunch, you can have it for dinner, something between lunch and dinner. So the whole idea is that we as Parsis, we love to eat. Jamwa Chalo Ji is like a slogan that all Parsis know, hear it, and they all have a big grin on their face and like, ah, yes, it's time to eat, yes, fantastic. So I'm very fortunate that I was born into a Parsi family where food was always, while having lunch, you end up talking about what you're going to be having for dinner. For dinner, you'll be talking about, oh, tomorrow what can we have for breakfast, or what can we have in between. So food has always been the crux in our family, and each of those different items that are there on that menu for that day is a recipe which has been handed down from my great grandmother to my grandmother, and from my grandmother to my mother, and now to me. So these are recipes which have been very carefully handed down to us, and we hope to just do justice by them.
Hidden like a precious jewel, the cafe is a perfect amalgamation of Jamshedpur. It is not a completely Parsi restaurant, but just like Jamshedpur, it's a melting pot of cultures.